and good evening. Just a little revision session for you for Mumbai megacities. So what is a megacity? Well, already we should know that a megacity has over 10 million people, and Mumbai is that city. And we mustn't mix up Mumbai being the capital city of India, because we should know that New Delhi is the actual capital city. So what's happened in Mumbai is since 1947, when India had its independence from the British Empire, there's been a lot of change and a lot of people moving into Mumbai. What reason could that be? Why would people move to Mumbai? So that's something you got to think about. But let's have a look at its location first. If you have a map in front of you, which would be great, you'll find that in your book on page 106. You'll see that in Mumbai, it is not landlocked, as we've ever said before. You've got the sea, and you've got the Arabian Sea, which means that you can transport things, goods and services. You can transport them. Even people, for example, who want to work in Saudi Arabia, they can actually go to work in that way. I'm not saying on a day-to-day basis, but it was easy to travel at some time ago. But the fact that the sea's there helps us to transport goods. Now, also in Mumbai, you've got some fantastic routes that go into Mumbai. So you've got all the main roads from north, east, south and west. You've got your roads that go directly there. You've got your trains that go to Mumbai. You've got two airports in Mumbai. One is the international airport. Obviously those flights go internationally. And then you've got a domestic airport. So if you don't know what domestic means, that means it's a home airport. So if, I don't know, a company wanted to send its goods to Bangalore, if you were to actually drive there, it would probably take you 2.5 to 3 days to drive to Bangalore from Mumbai. So if you go by plane, it'll take 1.5 hours. Yeah, I've been there myself, so I do know that. So train routes, plane routes, international and domestic roads, and obviously there's a harbour there because it's near the sea. It is off the sea, so there's a harbour there as well. So again, it's a really real ideal place for people living in Mumbai. Now, talking of people living in Mumbai, they're known as Mumbaikars, and this might come up in your exam in terms of how do Mumbaikars live in da 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 da. Well, so just be familiar with that term in case you don't actually know what that means. And sorry, I am looking this way because I am also looking at the text that I've got in front of me. So there is a large parity in Mumbai, a large difference between a good quality life and not a good quality life, and there are various reasons for that. But firstly, look into what are the advantages and disadvantages of Mumbai, and we've looked at the location, but now also look at what types of industry are there. So what type of industries were there before, and what type of industries are there now? Okay, so think about it. So there might be some IT industry, there might be some manufacturing industry. Have a look, find out. I have got a website that you can use, and it actually tells me on this website about some of the industries that are in Mumbai, because it really has been developed. So the thing with industry, as we know, it creates pollution, because factories, for example, they need fossil fuels to burn, so it creates much more pollution. As we know, it does have a pollution issue and a pollution problem, which is one of the disadvantages of living in Mumbai. Car pollution, noise pollution, air pollution because of the factories or because of industry that have now opened up there. You've got people who are working there in different places. So, for example, you've got people who have high-paid jobs and they do quite well, and you've got a lot of people who are unskilled and don't have work. Now, where do they live? Because to live in Mumbai is very, very expensive. So where would they live? What has the government provided? Well, let's find out a little bit later on. Anyway, if you have any questions, do ask me in the lesson. But this video is just a little top up, and I'll probably make another one in a little while.